I personally am open to learning all faiths, and I believe all faiths that are strongly believed in, they must have something true in it. But that is not to say these things are perfect. So I'm open to learning from all of them. And one of the great things about, Christ is how much it represents forgiveness. So like I said in my last video, his being crucified and having these terrible deeds done to him, yet him still forgiving the people, right? This is to be divine. Forgiveness is divine. So his, boundless, infinite forgiveness to the people, and showing it through the action of the bad things happening and still forgiving is the lesson of forgiveness being divine, being sacred, being pure, being of high virtue. We see this again when it comes to, I believe it's a prostitute. I'm not the biggest expert on Christian stuff, but where they're throwing the stones at her and then, or something like that. And then Jesus says, he without sin cast the first stone. So again, it's this idea to forgive. And in forgiving others, you forgive yourself, because to judge another is to judge yourself. To throw the stone at somebody else is to throw a stone at yourself. And it goes deeper than that, because we're all one. You can see this forgiveness again in the story of the prodigal son, which is another beautiful story, where you have two sons, and one is kind of like the obedient one, and he follows what's best for the family and uses his inheritance in the right way. And then you have the other son who feels the need to go explore kind of the darker things. And then in a sense, like the idea is that he's lost, right? So he's lost and he's searching for the truth, and he's searching for love in all the wrong places in the city, uses up all his inheritance. But this son eventually realizes, this is not the way. He goes back home, and when he goes home, his father plans a celebration for him. Now the other son, the so-called good son, he says, I've been sitting here doing the right thing this whole time. How come I don't get a festival, And I think that the idea is he gets celebrated as well, but the father says, when somebody comes back to the light, when they come back to goodness, there is forgiveness, and we celebrate that coming back. You don't punish those people that have seen the light of the truth, that have seen that there is a more loving way to be, a more real way. So again, it's this beautiful idea of forgiveness. And people, they laugh. They make memes about Jesus just saying, okay, just be nice to each other. Yeah, but this is being nice. This is not being nice. It's being kind on a whole nother level. How many people, and even yourself, how deep is your own kindness? How deep is your own forgiveness? How much are you personally able to alchemize and transmute negative energy into positive energy? If you were crucified, or someone was crucified like Jesus, most of us probably would not be able to forgive that. Why? Because we are human, we are flawed, but then some may be able to, and that is a beautiful thing. I like to think of people as children. When you think of them as children, there's a lot less anger there, because a child doesn't know any better. And yes, an adult can cause way more harm, but mentally, spiritually, they are immature, they are undeveloped, underdeveloped. They're just spiritually less evolved. They literally just don't know any better. When you know better, you act better. When you know it deeply. I mean, it's one thing to know it, it's another thing to feel it so deeply that you actually act on it. So, this is something to think about, the idea of forgiveness.